Hey guys, J77 here doing another What's News, and I'm going to right straight to the topic at hand because we got a lot of topics that we need to talk about. I'm going to start off with a report here that's very, very interesting. It's have to do with Arizona. In the main headline, it says Arizona attacks hospitals to pay for Medicare to Medicaid. Now, before anybody goes and raise an eyebrow and start doing their 2 cents, I asked you for one thing. I'm gonna read up some of the stuff that's being said in this article, but I do ask a lot of people here to actually read the article fully. I'll leave the link below and then comment on it, especially those who live in Arizona, because it's gonna affect them more than anybody here. But the story basically goes like this: Arizona Governor Jane Brewer has built a political career in standing up for federal government over everything from immigration to health care. So she surprised almost everyone when she announced last week that she not only plans to push for an expansion of the state Medicaid program under the federal care law, she plans to fund it by raising taxes. A conservative Republican, Brewer is believed to be the first governor to publicly come up with a way to fund the controversial Medicaid expansion. Not even California Governor Jerry Brown, a Democrat in the state that largely supports the new federal health plan, has figured out how to pay for it. Pay for a boosted Medicaid plan. Sorry. Her proposal to add about 300,000 low-income Arizonans to a state Medicaid plan rallies on funding from hospitals through a so-called property tax. The idea is already used to fund some Medicaid plan in the 39 states, but none have tapped it to pay for the federal expansion, and many have at least some room to expand their hospital tax. The Medicaid expansion is intended to cover about half of the 30 million uninsured people expected to eventually gain coverage under the President Barack Obama's health care overhaul. The law expansion, the law expanded Medicaid to cover low-income people making up to 138% of the federal poverty level, or about 15,400 a year for a single person. That provision will mainly benefit low-income childless adults who currently can't get Medicaid in most states. Separately, the overhaul provides subsidies, private insurance for middle-class households. Washington, D.C. and 17 states have opted to expand their Medicaid rolls, but few have been explicit in how they will pay for it. According to the Cushion Commission of Medicaid and the uninsured, some GOP governors, including Rick Perry in Texas, Bobby Jindal in Louisiana, and Nikki Haley in South Carolina, have opted out, citing philosophical differences as well as worried about the costs. Under the federal legislation, Washington will pay for the entire cost of the Medicaid expansion for the first 3 years, gradually phasing down to 90% of the cost after that. It is far more generous matching rate than the federal government provides for other parts of the Medicaid program that is designed to get the state to sign on. This also goes on to say that Arizona appears to be unique in that it will see a large cost immediately because of how its existing plan is arranged. So it needs to come up with new fundings by January, while other states don't. This also says that Brewers is buckling parties and philosophy lines and blazing a unique path in the healthcare debate. Time will tell if others will follow her lead. It also repeats again that under the federal legislation, Washington would pay for the entire cost of the Medicaid expansion for the first 3 years, gradually phasing down to 90% of the cost. After that, it is far more generous. They basically repeating the same thing. However, they do say that Arizona appears to be unique, and that's again, I don't know why they did the same thing. This is the article, of course. Finally, Um, Brewer is already facing opposition from budget hawks in her own party on the issue. Two bills have been already been introduced that would essentially block her efforts. She has found supporters, however, among many Arizona hospitals, executives, and business groups, including the Commerce, Chambers of Commerce, you know what I mean, a leading opposition in raising taxes. The article also continues on. It says that the hospital struck with millions of dollars of comprehensive care each year, agreeing to be taxed makes sense. They pay 6% of the revenue to get a much larger amount back from Medicaid forms, the Medicaid form the new insured. Among the supporters of the tax, Digitally Health, which has three Phoenix area hospitals, including one of the biggest in the state, St. Joseph Hospital. Vice, I believe his name is Pissar Digital's vice president, external affairs, said St. Joseph alone with have seen a tidal wave of uncomprehensive care since 2010, raising from an average of 8 million a month to an understandable 17 million a month now. That's big. That is very, very big. Others like Mayo Clinic and Scottish Dale have opposed to the tax. Mayo argued it provides subsidy care for cancer and transplants and shouldn't have to be paid for supporting a general care hospitals with high numbers of patients. Hmm. There's other stuff that's on this article. I'm not going to read all of it, but I will leave a link so you guys can read the whole thing in its entirety. Um, it is a very, very big issue, and you get the feeling that this is what's going to happen. A lot of people are for it. A lot of people are against it. Big hospitals are definitely for it. Small hospitals, especially those who just focus on one particular diagnostics, are against it for many, many reasons. And but I will say this: no matter how you see, what side of the fence you are, this is a very bold move that the governor is doing. And I gotta say, whether you agree with it or not, at least she's doing something. At least she's doing something that she believes that can benefit people who are uninsured, the poor, those who are working but still can't get insured, single people who are just basically want to get medical coverage but just can't afford it. And that's the thing about it. The cost of getting medical insurance and just basically getting medical care is pretty much ridiculous. It's almost impossible to get actual medical coverage because of a lot of reasons, but mostly because it's just the bill is just unbelievable. I'll give you a perfect example. A doctor wanted to charge me $315 to talk for 5 minutes. 5 minutes, $300. How's that possible? How is that possible? Um, a paramedic ride, if can cost you anywhere from $600 to $1,000. X-rays can cost almost $120. Um, it adds up, and believe me, not one person. A person just don't go to a doctor just for one thing, and especially in an emergency situation. There's a lot of procedures that has to be done, and those procedures can add up, especially God forbid surgery. That pretty much can bankrupt you right there. So it is expensive. It's gotten too expensive, and pretty much it just spiraled out of control. And the fact that anyone, whether you're a Democrat or Republican, thinks that this is not an issue, it is an issue. It's a very serious issue, and it needs to be addressed. And at least from what I'm seeing, what I read on this article, at least she's trying to address it. At least she's trying to come up with ways to at least make it affordable at the same time, not let it drain the hell out of our state. At least she's doing something than nothing. A lot of the other governors aren't doing anything and believe that this is not an issue when in reality it is. And there's a lot of reasons behind that. That's why I also laugh about how these guys are Bible pushing governors, but when it comes to people's health, that seems to be out one ear and in one ear and out the other, and that's just something I always been worried about when I hear these people talk about, because sometimes they're so full of themselves. But in this case, at least she's trying. It is surprised because her reputation, of course, being a conservative, smaller government, less interference from the feds, lower taxes. Here she's doing almost the complete opposite. Now, granted, there may be other reasons why she's doing it. Of course, that's one thing we got to take into account. But at least I can say with a straight face, say, okay, at least she's trying. Let's see what happens. She's definitely gonna have opposition. A lot of people may think that taxing the hospitals is just outlandish, especially those that are state-run. Because for what I can recall, state-run hospitals is being paid by taxpayer money, and so it doesn't make sense to tax them again. Others may believe that that the hospitals are getting enough or should be taxed because um, they are charging a lot of money, and there are people who are actually paying for their insurance, and so they should at least be taxed for it. But to me, this is an open thing. It can work. It can go either way. It can make or break. This could be a good idea, a bad idea. To me, it's just let's see how this works. I'm not gonna say it's a terrible idea. I actually think that if it's gonna benefit the people who are uninsured and it's gonna give them some kind of insurance, then so be it. Um, Other people may disagree. I understand. This is why I'm asking people, especially who lives in Arizona, to put their own voice into this, comment on this, because it is a very big, bold step, and it's going to affect Arizona in some shape or form. People are going to feel it, and it's going to be a good thing. It's going to be a bad thing. So I think I think it's time that that the people who, especially those who live there, who vote for these politicians, speak their mind on this matter. Do you agree with the governor on the governor on this matter? Do you disagree? I'd like to know why you feel that this is a good idea. I also like to know why it's a bad idea. So, by all means, read the article, read it in full. I would advise you to skip the repeat. I don't know why that was they repeat the article there, but just give me your own opinion on that. I'd like to know what you're feeling on it because it is a big giant step, and it can go both ways. So that's pretty much all I got to say about that topic. Now on to another topic here. Um, this is a very interesting topic at hand. It says thousands of American activists, some carrying rifles and pistols, gathering peacefully Saturday at the state capitol across the country for a rally promoting gun rights in the U.S. government. As the U.S. government considered new restrictions. This one got my attention for a lot of reasons, some good and some bad, and I'll get to both sides on the matter as I read this article along. But it safely says here in this article here, and that a couple have rallied. The rally stretched all the way from New York, Connecticut, South Dakota, Texas, Alabama, Arizona, Oregon. In some places, drawing dozens, and others attracting several thousand demonstrators. Separately, authority says 5 people were injured at a gun show in 3 separate states where a firearm accidentally was discharged. This is a separate incident. This I didn't say if this was also that these places in the gun show was doing their own demonstration or not. I'm just happy that no one was hurt. No, I'm sorry, killed doing this discharge. But I'm gonna get to this in a minute. I'm gonna hold back my feeling on that for a minute. But there's another article. There's another sentence here I want to get to because this is the one that disgusts me more so than that. Activists use social media to prompt the guns across America. Rallies, which were fashioned as the response for new gun control proposal unveiled this week by Barack Obama, president. In Austin, Texas, some 600 demonstrators covered the state capitol to protest Obama proposal. In some cases, shows their apathy towards the president with a sign and banner that estimate 1,000 gun rights activists gathering in the Capitol. I think they're missing a sentence here, but I'm gonna read it again. Um, in Austin, Texas, some 600 demonstrators covered on the Texas Capitol to protest the Obama proposal, and in some cases, show their apathy towards the president with signs and banners. Oh, okay, that's what happened. Didn't see that there. An estimate 1,000 gun rights activists gathered in the capital of Tennessee, and 2,000 more shows up in New York State Capitol. In Hartford, Connecticut, police said about 1,000 gun activists rallied with at least one man carrying an assault rifle nearly identical to the type used by a lone gunman in December to kill 20 children and 6 adults in nearby Newtown. This is where it bothers me here. This is where I got a little angry here. The Associated Press said a man carrying the RA-15 assault weapon and wore a green and white ribbon in his label, the colors of the Newtown Elementary School where the massacre took place. I'm going to finish reading this up and I get my own feeling about this. Early Saturday, Obama used his weekly radio address to tell the public his administration is taking serious steps to protect American children from gun violence. He said those actions, including strengthening the existing system of background checks and for potential gun buyers, and passing new research on a way to reduce gun violence. I'll leave the link below so you guys can read that yourself. But this is where I have a problem with. Okay, we'll get to the problem of hand before. I'm gonna start off with this guy here who carried a gun that's similar. That's fine. You want to say that's a coincidence? That's fine. The gunman who did that horrible act is not the only one who has that type of weapon. That I understand. However, when you come into a rally with colors that is basically symbolizing a tragic event, it tells me two things. Either A, you feel that if the teachers had guns or police officers was there present who have guns was there, that wouldn't happen. Or B, you're making a mockery out of the people who have died in that horrible massacre. And if that's the case, and if that's B, shame on you. You just basically spat on the grave of 20 innocent children and adults who have perished in that senseless violence. And to me, anyone who try to justify that, I don't even want to see them. I don't even want to talk to them. I don't even want to hear their opinion on the matter. This is not just him. It's a lot of politicians who try to justify what happened. And I say justify because anybody who says, well, if God was in that school, this would not happen. No. How dare you? How dare you? And to me, this is one of the things about how some people are so wrapped up in trying to protect what they feel is theirs, that they sometimes become insensitive to the actual tragedy that took place. Again, to be fair, they never said that this guy was making a mockery out of it. But I'm kind of curious on why he felt the need to wear the colors in a gun rally. Now, as for the other report, there's really nothing much I can say. Accidents do happen. I understand that. The report never said that this was a rally. It just said it was a gun show. And that's it. It doesn't say anything else about this gun show protesting or anything else. However, this leads to my point about firearms. Firearm is not something to be glorified. I'm being straight up. Firearm is not something to be worshipped. Firearms are there for one purpose and one purpose only: to kill. And that's it. They're cold, blooded weapons. used to take out a life. That's what they are. Whether it's a creature for hunting or something in self-defense, that's what they're there for. They're not there to become, decorations. They're not there to become, something to marble in the sun. There are firearms. There are weapons, deadly weapons. And this is something I don't understand why a lot of people consider these to be more than just that. There's nothing else to it. They're weapons. Um, and another thing about it is that this idea that everybody should own a gun, I'm not buying that. I have no problem with people who use holding a gun to defend themselves. I said this countless of times. I do have a problem with people who are not mentally stable owning a gun. I do have a major issue when a person who has a criminal record, especially those that was firearm related, to own a gun. We gotta be reasonable here. And again, everybody says the Second Amendment rights is the right to bear arms. Fine, but we still have to have a discussion of how to keep these violence in check. And a lot of people don't want to have this conversation. A lot of people want to ignore it or throw. It happened because of games. It happened because of television. It happened because of upbringing. It happened because of mental maladies. Hey, it's everything. All right, including the guns. We gotta talk about it. If we're gonna be really, really serious about it, we need to really talk about it. All the issues, guns, television shows, movies, everything. Not just point the blame on one thing and then leave out others. Passing laws, and that's another thing. Passing laws to ban assault rifles, to ban guns, is still not going to solve the problem. And that's the whole thing. I want to make this very clear. Just because you pass a law, New York had passed one of the strictest laws on record. It's not. It doesn't really mean anything because all you did was pass a law. That's not going to exactly deter people, especially criminals, from still buying weapons. And this is the thing that I think people need to really realize about it, especially those who are dead set against banning weapons. You still need to have a conversation. Just passing laws is not going to be enough. You still have to have a combination. You still have to have this debate and get to the root of the problem. Because until you do that, until we put everything in the forefront, everything from television to guns, to people who have some mental issues, everything right at the center. Stuff like this is going to continue. It's not going to stop, and that's the thing I think people need to be aware of. You guys may have a different feeling about this. I'd like to know what your opinion on this. I'd like to know what you guys feeling on this. Please be open-minded about it. Talk about it. Whether you're a gun activist or an anti-gun activist, I'd like to hear your opinion on this. But I'd rather have people talk about it, debate about it, than just ignore it. And I feel a lot of people are either ignoring it or trying to patch it up by passing laws that may or may not work. That's just my feeling on the matter. So that's my feeling on it. You guys can talk about it. I'll leave a link below. Next story, and this is pretty much will be the last story of the day, and that is this, pretty much a sad one. It's pretty much the headlines of this story says cyberbullying, social media is to blame for a Florida's teen committing suicide. The article pretty much explains how a 16-year-old Florida girl killed herself this week after a week of blaming social media. Paso County High School student Jessica Langsley hung herself late Sunday. Police told the Daily News. Her friend said the cyberbullying on a website Ask FM is what pushed the troubled teen over the edge. It also said that some of the posts was okay, and was innocent to what class you do, what classes you do you like the most, to striking cruel, why you're so ugly, just kill yourself, you're worthless. One of the friends said she couldn't handle the torment. It gets you get compliments sometimes, but there's those negative comments that brings you down. There are just things you should say and things you shouldn't say, said another friend. And on AskFM, none of that should be said. The website did not respond to Daily News requests, of course, for comments. The principal of the school said where Leslie was a student said that the teen never complained about being bullied. Police are investigating social media Leslie used before her death, but haven't determined that bullying was the cause of her suicide. And the reason why they are saying this is because Lindsay was briefly hospitalized after threatening to kill herself on June of 2011. I believe something did bother the young girl, Toby said, and hopefully we can find out exactly what happened so we can save others. Now, I'm just going to say it right now. I'm not blaming AskFM for this. To blame the social media, listen, you guys got to understand one thing, okay? This is not just the social media. It's for anyone who does videos, anyone who does a blog, anyone who does a podcast, anyone who goes on Twitter or Facebook. It's a wild wild west, okay? And I always felt like this. These sites are not meant for children, all right? These sites are not meant for kids who are not fully stable. And according to this article, that she have made these kind of threats before. And she was hospitalized for making these kind of threats before. So to say that it's just the social network who did this, you can say is maybe a part of it. It may be one of the strings that happened that triggered her depression or whatever situation she was going through. But it's not the only one. And I say this before, and I'm saying this especially to parents here. If you have kids that's going on the social sites, know what they're doing, know who they're talking to, know what's going on at all times. That way you have a better, clearer picture. Don't be afraid to ask your kids, say, look, everything all right? You want to talk about anything? How things going on in school? How's your friends doing? Also, know who the hell they're talking to online as well. No matter, you can blame a lot of things on it, and yeah, I'm gonna say right now, there's a lot of trolls out there who just want to start trouble, who's gonna say stuff that is cruel, heartless, and mean. But you gotta understand that's the way that has been structured. And unless you are planning to censor these websites, which, by the way, a lot of people are dead set against, you gotta expect morons to do that. The question is, you should, if instead of letting your kid just roam freely online, sit down and talk to them and say, listen, you're gonna get comments. Some are gonna be good, some are gonna be mean. Ignore the mean comments because they're just there to be stupid and be dumb. You can't stop that from happening. If it gets out of hand, let me know. I'll deal with it. I'll block them if I have to. But do yourself a favor. Don't let that get you down. If it gets too much, shut it off. Come to me. And most parents should do that. So they should talk to their kids about the pros and the cons about these social networks, because you're going to have this problem. This problem is not going to stop. I'm dead set against cyberbullying. I'm dead set against any bullying of any kind. But we got to be realistic here. This is a website. There's only so much the police can do. For all we know, that person could be in other countries. For all we know, the important thing is, if you want, the best way to upset this and prevent this becoming a tragic event is to have parents be involved and say, "Hey, look, this is what's going on. This is what can happen. If it does, either ignore it. If it gets out of hand, just shut it off for a while. Come talk to me." And keep a report about who it is. Keep a report of their user's name. But don't just don't let your kid, put it this way, don't let your kid just roam freely and don't thinking that everything is gonna be fine, everything is gonna be okay, because 9 out of 10 it's not all right, it's not fine. And unfortunately, this girl's been going through a lot of problems, and sadly, this situation where you're ugly, I wish you'd kill yourself, you're worthless, those words, especially with the stuff that she's already been dealing with already, snaps. And again, I'm not going nuts about AskFM. I'm not gonna go say, "Oh, they should have done more." What really can they do? I mean, what more can they really do? If they pretty much stuck in a lose-lose situation. If you start censoring everybody, um, then they'll be looked at as a person who's trying to stomp on people's rights. Um, if um, if they don't do anything, then this stuff happens and they get the blame. So they're pretty much stuck in a no-win situation. My feeling is that if you want my only feedback that I can give as a family is look at your policies, um, have people monitor the traffic more and more, and if you see somebody's being a total douchebag, just ban them. That's the best way to handle that situation. You can ban somebody for for violating your terms and policies, but make those policies more clearer. But in any case, I can't really go crazy and say that Ask FM is to blame for what happened. This stuff happens, and unfortunately, it's a sad situation. I wish it never would happen, but we got to remember that this is a wild, wild west. The social network is sometimes cruel. It's sometimes cold, and depending on where you go, some places are worse than others. Some social sites are worse than others. The only thing I can say is, in terms of this story, is if you have children on a social network, educate them and let them know that hey, you're gonna get some of this stuff on your site. You can choose to ignore it, block them, ban them, and if you don't, write a report to the site administrators, or basically tell them, um, or just simply ignore them because this stuff is not gonna stop. I wish it does. I wish that bullying doesn't exist, but it's not going to stop. And the only way you can actually combat it is through education and knowing the signs of this kind of ridiculous nonsense. And another thing is, don't let your kids put too much information out there. Don't let your children post personal stuff out there, especially if it's going to be used against them. Make sure you teach your kids that because it's a dangerous world, the social network, and you don't know who the hell's looking at that, and who can use that to take advantage of someone online. That just goes for adults as well. So be mindful of that. Well, that's it for today. That's all I got to say about the What's News. As always, I'll leave links to the stories I've talked about. Um, I'd like to hear your comments on the matter. Until then, this is J77 saying take care, be safe, and I'll talk to you soon.